Banging on the cool. Banging on the cool.
Banging on the speakers, ayy. This shit feel nostalgic, ayy. Feel like I was Frank, ultra from the palette, ultra from the aura, ayy. Shine like ultraviolet, ayy. You should bag up from me, cause I tend to get violent. Say I'm going easy.
I tend to get violent. Anime, we have everybody's attention, please. We are now boarding the Brothaship, the only place in outer space where the nerds come for the content and the culture. As always, we are your hosts, the co-captains of the cool kids, aka Genkai's favorite guys. And let us never forget the deadliest backcourt in the podcasting industry, preaching the good word on all things nerd. 'Tis I, the frozen one, Mr. Matthew Porter, aka a tall glass of gin, woo, and juice, here with my bro pilot, my podtonic life partner, the scholar from planet Sadala himself, Mr. Troto Trav. Beam me up, Travie.
Man, y'all know who it is.
We do know who it is.
It's the kid Troto Trav. And look, like I said before, Lord Beerus knows that I've never been a cheater.
Not once.
Because I say this with saying pride, and I stay with one woman like Vegeta.
Oh.
And on the Brothaship, with our takes, we take flight. But listen, we just talking, so don't cut off our heads. We ain't no kites. Aight? And we are here on the Brothaship Podcast. And as we had said before, and giving y'all a little bit of a teaser,
we cover all the
a
things
little
now.
bit, just a tip. We talked about our segment, One Hitter Quitters.
You know.
And this segment, we cover off on anime that only lasted for a season.
Get in, get on, get out.
Exactly. It could be one season that was just concluded, or one season that was canceled and the manga continued, but you know, we enjoyed it and wished it would have continued. So
yes,
if it ever does come back to life, you heard it here first on the Brothaship. Exactly. And unfortunately, the anime that we are going to start off with, we're going to blue ball the hell out of y'all.
Because it probably ain't never coming back.
Because this anime was canceled and the manga still needs to be finished. We are going to discuss Drifters. And so,
Trey, but real quick before we get into it, this anime does carry a special place in our hearts as a collective because it was one of the first animes that we broed out over. You actually put me on. You had seen it first, and the prerequisite was like, "Hey, bro, this is an amazing show, but it's only one season."
Yeah.
You're gonna be upset.
And it was so. I don't know about you, Matt. I actually never saw the anime Hellsing, but
I know of Hellsing, but
I've heard
I didn't get into it.
Yeah. So this is Drifters is done by the same creator. Koto.
That animation
Koto
style
Hirano.
makes all the sense in the world.
Which is also interesting, right? Because Koto Hirano for Hellsing, Hellsing manga was 10 volumes. Drifters currently has 7 volumes out, and from what I gathered, it sounded like they were like reaching the end game / like the finale. So people were speculating like Hellsing, if he ever does come back to finish it, it'll conclude at 10 volumes as well. Also, one thing to note as well is that the Hellsing anime that did complete, but that was also only one season. So interesting enough, I am very curious to know if the anime were to conclude in some sort of fashion, if it only needed one other season. But who knows? We may never ever find out.
Yeah, it looks like here, based off of the wiki, that the anime in its original run was from 2016 to 2018. So yeah, that shit gone. It ain't coming back.
It is the year 2025.
It ain't coming back.
we didn't time travel here. We're
not holding our breath, waiting for the studio to get right.
Yeah,
pretty sure this joint's chopped. which is sad, y'all, because between the animation, the fights, and we'll get into it. That's why we're here. This show's I fuck with this show hard. Body karate. Like this shit is fire, yo. Super fire.
It was just it was such a unique concept,
1000%.
right? So to give a quick brief synopsis,
the AI overview.
Well, I'm gonna give mine, and then you can give, if you have the AI overview pulled up.
You know what's funny? Total accident, but us being a Philly-based podcast, don't try to confine us. Just saying, the AI overview, Allen Iverson.
Hey, look, it all comes together.
It all comes together,
baby. That's what we're gonna do. They trying to.
We're gonna give them the Allen Iverson overview when we talk about these shows.
Listen, iRobot coming for some of our jobs, but we will utilize the hell out of iRobot at certain times.
1000.
So I'll give you my brief, quick summary.
Please do.
Drifters, it follows. So the main protagonist is Shimazu Toyohisa, and a lot of characters you guys are going to see are based on historical figures.
Yep.
Actually, and some of them are some crazy.
Actually ripped from history, like actual historical figures.
There are some historical figures that appear in this anime and just series in general that we'll get to, where I'm kind of like, you brought that, you brought him into this?
Yeah.
I don't know how I should feel. Like, I really don't know. And so, Shimazu Toyohisa, he's a samurai, and he is involved in the Battle of Sekigahara, or I mispronounce the hell out of the Battle of Sekigahara. But anyways, we see he starts off where he fights off a horde of the enemy troops, so that his uncle can retreat and get back to safety. And so
Toyohisa is all about honor. It's all about honor and combat.
And the interesting part about these historical figures is that a lot of them, their death is like unknown,
ambiguous,
or how they died. So, which kind of like plays into how these drifters, as they're called, end up in this world. So essentially, Toyohisa, he's a drifter, but the way that it happens is that these historical figures, when it's perceived, the unknown cause of their death is what leads to, they go into this white room, which just has a corridor of doors, and they're met by someone who
Murasaki.
Who, as if he's checking them in at the DMV or like at the produce section where you got to pull your ticket. But then they just get transported into this world that has humans, elves, dwarves, and there's a current war that's going on that is between two factions, the Ends and the Drifters. Yep. And both sides have historical figures that these characters are based on, where the Ends, it's interesting. For example, you would think that Joan of Arc
I was gonna say she's one of the dopest villains, because it's like, she was burnt at the stake, but like her end self like has fire powers, like, so
exactly. The reason like behind why they have these ends on this side of like of Joan of Arc's case, because they have a disdain for humanity, and so the way that they're basically said, like in Joan of Arc's case, like humanity burned her at the stake. So now she has this burning hatred towards humanity and is on that side. And the Ends, it's crazy, right? Because so in the first season, we don't really see if, and this is a long synopsis, by the way, but we don't really even see if like the Drifters have any sort of magical powers, but the Ends do. But the Drifters, they,
hands and feet, baby.
They seem to be able to
above
to
average,
compete right there.
Above average fighters for sure.
Yeah, and so the main three protagonists that we first introduced are Toyohisa, Oda Nobunaga,
my guy,
and then Yoichi. And so these are like the three that are like starting to make waves that get the attention of the Orto organization, who is forming their collective crew of drifters to go against the Ends. So essentially, long story short, it is they are thwarted into this world where there's a war being waged between
the light and the
Ends
dark, baby,
and the Drifters. And The drifter sides are all these historical figures that they recruit, and then we do see as the series progresses, some drifters don't necessarily have a side, but they're just in this world and are causing chaos. Like this whole series is basically like just chaos.
Yeah,
just chaos.
It's an amazing show. That's a great way to put it, Trav. And really quick, just to set the tone for these segments with these One Hitter Quitters, or just when me and Trav just kind of review shows. So we will always make a concerted effort for like more recent. I know that's terrible grammar. For current shows.
And a correction, the organization is called the Octoberists.
Yes, the Octoberists. Yeah,
which is actually, as I was reading, it was the name of a political party in Russia in the early 1900s.
Oh,
so another
figures.
historical reference. So the Octoberists are the ones that are waging the war against the Ends. So
right.
The Octoberists versus the Ends, and the historical figures that are just placed in this world are the drifters.
Exactly.
And that's who the Octoberists are trying to recruit.
Yeah, and what I was just going to say with that before we kind of get into just like our takes on the show and how we enjoyed it. So for this particular show, there are 12 episodes. We're going to do 50-50. So we're going to cover the first 6 episodes now. We'll give y'all the back 6 after. That's pretty much probably how we're going to do these shows, like that are only one season, to just not have to talk about a whole season in one episode, because that would be crazy. We're going to split it in half. And just again, me and Trav will do our best. I won't say they're not going to be spoiler free. They're going to be spoiler adjacent. But what I was going to say is, for more recent shows, we will try our best to not, let the cat out of the bag. But this shit ended in 2018. So we're about to talk about it. so if you want to pause it here.
If you want to pause, go watch episodes 1 through 6 and then come back. We'll be here.
Please do. But yeah, so just to, set the proper tone moving forward, we will be very cognizant of shows that are like more current in the timeline to not be very spoiler ridden. But this is shows that we've watched and or are watching. So spoiler warnings abound with that. But to get back to it, Trav, and another part of the war between the drifter and the End. So Murasaki is kind of like, I don't know what I want to describe it as. I guess he's like the deity that is like drafting drifters to help the light side.
He's the GM.
Yeah, 1000%, bro. In Hinky we trust. He said trust the process, bro.
Is would you say Toya? He says a Cooper Flag right now.
Yeah, big facts. Big facts. Okay. Number 1 draft pick coming out the draft. For sure. Gotcha. For sure. But yeah, Murasaki is like bringing in drifters from history to help the light side in the Octoberists. And the girl whose name escapes me when I find it, but she's purple dress, purple hair. She's helping the Ends and the Black King in like their recruitment and trying to like win it for their side. But like Trav said, it's chaos. The show starts off in the middle of a giant war scene. It's very graphic, very gory, a lot of blood. But the fight scenes are, man, peak. I know that's a word that I don't love the most, but like,
we hear peak used many times.
It is, but no, this is where I don't feel like it's underselling it by saying that. It's just hands and feet. Like the drifter, the main 3 protagonists that Trav just mentioned, Toyohisa, Oda, and Yoichi.
Yep. Hands
and feet. They are just really proficient at fighting. The art of war is something that they excel at. Even a thing that I really, really, really like about this show, Trav, is that typical anime like war shows or OVAs, movies, usually you get like the rallying speech that the good guys have before they go out in battle, but you don't ever really get to see the implementing or the creation of like the strategy. But Oda in his time was like one of the best military strategist of all time. So like anytime there's about to be like a really big fight, there's usually actually a scene of Oda prepping of what's about to happen. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's an untouched part of content, even live action shit, just to see like the planning that goes. Game of Thrones kind of did good with it, but it was a really long show, so they had nothing but time. Seeing the prep work and the art of war and the manipulation and figuring out how to get the elves to rise up and everything, just like the first 2 episodes, like the scene where he started burning the crops Yoichi was asking him, he was just like, oh, like why'd you burn the crops? Like what did the grain do to you? Like, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said something.
Fuck the food.
Yeah, he said something along the line.
Fuck the protein in it.
Exactly. Yeah. He said, ain't no time for popcorn, bro. We pretzel bites at the movies. Like,
yeah, fuck the fiber.
You feel me? But his response was something along the lines of like, for a man that has dignity, you know, like food isn't a factor. Like he can starve off food. He'll eat off the fact that he has his dignity. That he won't need the food. And then vice versa, a man who has a full stomach doesn't really care if they're dignified or not. Like the food is there. But if you wanted to get the people to rise up, you basically have to wait until they feel like they don't, like they're treated less than, they're subhumans, and then also take away the food. Now they have nothing to like be submissive for, which is what we found the elves in the predicament that they were in when we first get introduced into the story. The elves have been enslaved, taken over by who are the soldier guys again? Because I know they're not the Ents.
Nah. So actually, they are the Orta organization.
Got it.
And they are a group of humans that basically are trying to take over the world and implement human supremacy.
Hitler ended up there somehow.
Spoiler warning. Yeah,
my fault, bro.
I was literally about to say, you know, we learned that somebody had spearheaded the foundation of the Orta organization and has implemented tactics from his past that he now is having success in this world of. So yeah, in some form, in some fashion, I would wonder if this series were to continue, if Kanye West would pull up as a member of the Orta organization.
Doing the voiceover for it.
Yo, if Kanye was on the ends, what would be his power? Because you know how like Joan of Arc has like that she can utilize fire.
I feel like it'd be something where he could kind of, so anybody who's ever seen Umbrella Academy, like the sister Allison, her power was like damn, what the fuck is the word I'm looking for? She could like say things to people and make them do stuff like mind control. Okay, what's the word I'm looking for? Damn it, it's gonna bother me. It's like
it's not just mind control, right?
No, not mind control.
Okay.
Suggestion is like the synonym that I'm looking for, the word that I'm looking for. But basically, she like had power. She could control people's willpower, like by putting ideas in their head. And I feel like Kanye.
It's not telekinesis, right?
No, not telekinesis. Damn it, it's gonna bug me. It'll come to me randomly. But I feel like that'd be Kanye's power, like him being like a person like that uses music for mind control. Like he like make people do stuff.
I can see that. And then I'll give you another power for him. Every time he has some sort of like aura or some sort of energetic like a key blast or something like that, where when it makes contact with anyone, their mouth wires shut.
Influence. That's what it was. Like he would have influence over people to like make them do things. Like with this voice, like play one of his tracks. like he would play Heartless, and then like all the enemies wouldn't care anymore. Just betray each other. Yeah.
He has a beat pad, and every single time he hits it, it makes an explosion.
Like Runaway Love would make him retreat. Stronger would make his forces stronger. Look, bro, I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, you know how fire would be seeing like the ends approach the drifters with crack music playing in the background.
I'm just saying,
boom, 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 just that crack music.
Hell yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. And then
he's like, actually, broke, fire broke. We ain't lying.
Yo, you could actually put if someone did like an OVA or just a montage footage of like the fights and drifters and threw crack music over it, that shit would be fire.
I'm just saying, bro.
Well, you can throw the instrumental crack music over a lot of things, and it would make that shit look heat.
I'm about to say, I feel like you could throw mad Travis Scott music in the anime, and the shit would work.
Yeah,
like an anime fight scene, you throw a Travis Scott.
Well, all I know is that Kanye would learn quick that Hitler would not want him on his side, but maybe in the drifters world, because he's saying all humans are superior over the elves, the dwarves, So he ditched his racism and just went for I don't know what humanism,
Elvinism, like whatever.
No. What he's going to do is once he took over this world and eradicated all the elves or dwarves or had them under his control, then the racism will come back in. All right, now that I'm here,
now that we got all this elf shit out the way,
y'all minorities next. Y'all not good.
He said
y'all would never say.
He said you knew it was coming. I don't know why y'all like a surprise. You knew
this was a means to the end.
He said you know once I got rid of the pointy ears, you knew who was next.
Listen. You know what I'm saying? Like at first I went for those who were short, then I went for those with the pointy ears.
Hell yeah.
Now I'm going for the ones where that don't need sunscreen. So
he said all that shit I was doing back in Earth. He said that's happening here.
Y'all ever hear the phrase "history repeats itself"?
But just the concept of this show, I feel like is so fire that like using historical people from history whose like deaths are ambiguous, because it's like there's like rumors that like Hitler's skeleton was like found under somebody's basement in a garage in like Idaho or some shit.
Right.
Like so like but just that concept, which makes me so sad that the show ended, because like just the concept of like Hitler falling into this mystical realm, and it's just like, you know what, I'm about to take shit over.
Yeah. And just to be clear, he has not made any appearances in episodes 1 through 6.
Correct. We just see when they finally, and we'll get there. So matter of fact, let's just tee him up and then we'll get to the end of it too. So once Toyohisa like drops into this does this world have a name? Have we ever been given a name?
I don't. That's a very good question.
I feel like it functions like a purgatory, but it's not purgatory.
Look that up real quick, guys. I just want to note, like when Toyohisa lands in this world, he is founded by these two elves, and they bring him to this deserted castle where drifters are supposed to sit. But this is where we first learn that these two kids' older brother has warned them to stay away from any sort of drifters, because the Orta organization, if they make any sort of contact with them, their lives are in jeopardy, because they're trying to also take out the drifters as well. And so, but these two young elves, they essentially, save Toyohisa's life, because when he comes into the corridor that gets him sent to this world, obviously he's brutally beaten from his fight in the battle. Because everyone,
we were accidentally calling it the right thing. So according to Allen Iverson, the world in the Drifters anime is not given a specific overarching name. It is often referred to as the mystical world.
Okay, well there y'all go. And so and then later on, after these two elves bring Toyohisa to this deserted castle. That's where we meet Yoichi, who's supposed to be this heroic archer of his time, and so heavily skilled archer as well. And
dirty.
That's where he meets Nobunaga.
Oda, my guy.
Yeah, they heal him and everything, but then we later see that the elves' village is under attack.
We also learned that the mystical world does not have really like a sense of time. No. So Yoichi's like over 400 years old. Oda's like 18 years older than Toyohisa, but like you stop aging when you get there. So and
Toyohisa is like tripping out when he first meets.
There's that whole like, you're lying, this isn't who you are, because he knows who Nobunaga is.
Yo, you were way before my time, and I don't really. You were not alive. Your reign was done. Like
everybody knows you died 18 years ago, bro.
Yeah, you almost unified Japan, but almost isn't a win
at all. Almost only counts in hand grenades and horseshoes.
Exactly. And so the way that these three drifters start making waves, essentially, they begin to protect these elves.
Going back to the honor, when Toyohisa hears that the two elves that saved him are in trouble, he just sprints into battle. He just follows the smoke. He's just like, you know what? They need my help. We out.
Legit follows the smoke. comes in and just cooks
ham.
all of the those members of the Orta organization. And they thought shit was sweet. They said, we got another drifter. What are you doing supporting these elves? He said, yo, he said
drifter. Whoa, that's our word.
And then learn, throughout the episode, he learns about how all these elves been under the microscope of these people he just worked. And he's like telling them like, yo, if y'all with some right training, y'all could get your lick back, right?
1000%.
You do know that
1000%.
you can get your lick back. So
common trope in all fantasy: elves are good with bows.
Literally, and we see the military strategists in Nobunaga.
Mm-hmm.
When they start to form their little mini army that they have to start to take down those in the Orta organization, because they then learn that they've been enslaving their women in these horrible conditions.
Yeah, very, very graphic.
That Toyohisa, once again, he's like, that's not honorable. Y'all not honorable. So we know what? We're gonna make sure that y'all get what you deserve. And so, but throughout the first 6 episodes, we also see some other historical characters that are part of the Drifters, which is Butch Cassidy,
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. They both here.
Yeah.
They both here.
Yeah.
Teammates, baby.
And so, that's once again 2 historical figures where like they
ambiguous deaths.
Yeah, supposedly died in Bolivia in a shootout, but. Who knows? So I do really fuck with that whole concept of like, we're gonna pull historical figures where like they had like a ambiguous death, and this is the alternate world they were brought in. So who knows that like, hey, there might be a universe that has all these people just battling out. We don't know.
I'm just saying.
We don't know
about it. I said there's mad government conspiracy theories that could end up as characters on Drifters as well. I feel like if the show kept going, they could get real current eventy if they wanted to.
Oh my god, yeah! Like there's
you imagine like MLK coming in here like giving a rallying speech, bro. Like theory, he didn't die on that balcony. He was killed in the hospital by the government. Like later, I don't even think that's a theory at this point in time. For real. Like,
listen, that you know what I'm saying? They gonna have, even though they're not ambiguous, I'm just gonna use it as historical references, but they gonna have JFK, Abe Lincoln.
Dog, JFK was there. Yeah, hell yeah. Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Slayer, bro. He gonna be here.
Yo, you see it.
Nah, the show's fire. But yeah, there's so much warfare. Like Trav was saying, when they,
but real quick conspiracy theory. Just one side note that I just want to get out there. Kuroko Sato, the first spirit detective from Yu Yu Hakusho, he always had a point. He saw the forbidden tapes of what humans did to demons, and I am a conspiracy believer that there's something in this world that has dark tapes of what humans have done to humans.
Oh,
and
big facts.
Facts. So
the veil is thin, my brother.
Kuroko Sato, hey man, look. You might have been on to something.
Ahead of his time. Who's your favorite character, Trav?
Honestly, it sounds cop-outy, but Toyohisa, I just like, he's just so badass.
Yeah. I fuck with him too. You know how I feel about main characters. They're usually not my cup of tea, but I do fuck with Toyohisa. My guy, but yeah, I do fuck with Toyohisa.
He's just so unhinged, but at the same time, very honorable in what he believes in. Like if he has a squad, he rides for the squad.
Yo, baby. And let's stay here for a second, because that's another takeaway that I got from it too. Like, his temperament is so unique. Like, you usually don't see like a protagonist who like is all for mauling motherfuckers. Like, he's like,
it's not like, I'm not gonna sit here and say like, yo, he's like the nicest guy ever. Nah, that's more crazy.
Yo, no, he's crazy. He's crazy as shit. But it's like that honor bound, the duty bound, like the, like protecting the downtrodden, like that sense is like what gives him like the typical, like makeup of like what a protagonist in the anime would be. But then like when he got, and I love how the show is so self-aware that like when he flies off the handle, which you wouldn't see like a main character typically do, there's usually some commentary inside the show. that talks about like, oh yeah, this motherfucker is crazy.
well, right, and you know what's like, you know, interesting too is that typically in shows when it has this sort of format where like you see all the characters thrust into the world, we're given little tidbits of why they're there, what's going on, but like it's just kind of like just straight action, and it's just getting right into the like this war that they're just find themselves in. You know, typically I'm gonna be like, man, I need some more story development.
So he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care,
right? But like for me as a viewer, I'm kind of like, sometimes I'll be like, man, yo, why are we here? Like it's like when you get added to a meeting with no agenda, like why the fuck we here?
This could have been an email.
like you using up my time now. But like they do a pretty solid job of how it is, because you know what, I mean, pretty simple. There's two factions at war, and
this mystical realm got caught in the middle.
Like, they're trying to recruit, you know. They saw a dynasty formed over in the Western Conference, and they said, all right,
Doc River got the guys together. It's like, believe in yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, if the Drifters were led by Glenn Rivers, I gotta say the ends in 6. So
unless it was 2008,
the only year,
the only year.
Yeah, listen, if you put Drifters versus ends in a 2008 time chamber, then all right, I'll go with the Drifters.
Anything is possible. Double entendre.
After that, just expect them to be up early and just get cooked at the end.
Facts.
Just expect that.
But you just touched on something that's another reason why I feel like this show like exists in a really unique place, because like you were saying, typically when you get these types of shows where your main characters are dropped into a mystical world, there's usually like exposition that follows, or like the main characters go on like a little side quest to figure out like the how everything works so they could get their footing, and then the story usually progresses. But with Toyohisa, like, he gives no fucks. He just knows that this is where I'm at now. Like, oh, I need to fight to live. Like, oh, I need to protect these people. Like, he's like very single-minded. And I like how the show handles that, because like in his story, he's not looking for answers of how did I get here? Why am I here? But like the show answers the questions for you like around him, and it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like they just put a character in here just to like exposition dump on me to like world build. Like it feels like very practical that it happens, and the fact that it doesn't happen through the main character, like I can't think of a show off the top of my head where like you get the world built not through the eyes of the main character, because they don't give a fuck. Right. And it's very refreshing, even though the show's old as shit.
Yeah. Nah, it definitely has unique aspects that it's just different. I mean, like even the animation too and the character designs is very unique to that Hellsing, like that action horror, a lot of blood.
It's an eyes. The way they draw the eyes are very specific. Like
the eyes are like menacing, creepy, but also there's the elements of humor that they throw into there as well. But yeah, man, it's like one of those shows where I mean, low key, like, you know, it fits. I was about to say it fits the segment. The segment is one hitter quitter, but I was about to say it's a quick hitter. And like I do feel like there are parts where like, I could get some more exposition, but then there's also where I'm like, I mean, like, I'm good here.
Like, bring me more fights.
And like, you know, where we get towards episode 6, towards like the I guess I was about to say the end, but like just like, you know, towards the end of this first part that we're going over is, you know, we see another historic figure pop in, Count Saint Germain.
Yeah.
And
we went past the part that we said that we were going to tee up to. When they take the castle and save the elf women's, that's when Oda sees the picture of Hitler up on the wall, and not knowing who that is, he asked the question like, oh, like who is this? And like the Octoberists that are on site like say like, hey, this is the person that pretty much started all this shit.
Started the whole Orta Empire.
Yep, and it was Hitler, and you could tell it's Hitler because of the mustache.
Yeah,
and it's even like talked about like, oh yeah, he's a very, very weird mustache.
and it's crazy because you see that, and then you start thinking about what the Orta Empire is based on, and you're like,
it starts making so much sense.
Okay, and that's when you really, really, really are like, yeah, Toyohisa fucked him up.
Yeah. Because that's a great point, Trav. Because I didn't really think about that. Like the Oda Empire, like in itself, could have just existed as it was, like a group of high and mighty, better than you humans who feel like, you know, these elves are freaks and just want to like run everything. But then, like you said, Trav, like when you find out that like Hitler was the person that started this shit, it's like, oh shit, it gives episodes like 1 through 5 context, like more, like way more context. Is like, and then it gives the fact that the dude that Toyohisa had fucked up in the elf village when he beat him with the sheath of his sword,
just
like
battered his head.
That dude had blonde hair, blue eyes. So it's just like it's just like, oh shit, like, the Aryan race bullshit.
Look, it could be triggering for some, but it also could be rewarding for others.
Yeah,
we
watch a magical Nazi get his ass kicked.
Yeah. We say all that to with a little bit of a warning to watch on your own accord. But
not a kid show.
No. If you're getting your kids into anime,
this ain't the one to start with.
Nah, this ain't the one. You could definitely. I mean, if you want to give some historical lessons in a very bad, creepy, and disturbing way, sure.
Right? Okay. Happy belated Father's Day.
What they teaching you in school is not right.
Come sit down.
Here's how it really.
Here's really what happened to Hitler.
So I mean, is there anything else that we wish we should probably cover off on from the first 6 episodes?
Without bleeding into 7 through 12. There's not too much. The kamikaze pilot and the dragon, that was fire.
Oh yes. So the kamikaze pilot, he is so that is Naoshi Kano, and he was a Japanese fighter during World War II, and so his death was also
ambiguous,
unknown. Like his nickname was Bulldog and Kano the Destroyer, which are fire names.
Those are great nicknames.
Fire names. And like you could tell with the way that they had him pop in, because like he comes flying in and he's just like going crazy. He's like, yo, what the fuck? Where am I? Like, there's a fucking dragon next to me. And I was like, and it was like,
he shot at my man. He said, yo, how you get on that dragon?
right. He's like, well, anyways, I got some shit to do. Like,
I was in the middle of a fight, bro. How do I get back?
So like, because when he first appears, it looks like he's coming straight from World War II.
Probably about to fly into some shit.
Exactly. And so that's sort of like, that's what's dope with some of these characters, is that they come in from their historical places, and like also too they have other strategists that Nobunaga, Toyohisa and Yoichi meet. Hannibal Barca. He's also in why they have all the strategists with one eye patches
every time, bro. they said with one eye you can focus better. That's what it is, bro.
So like with Hannibal Barca and Scipio Africanus, those are like two what
Roman Empire.
From the Roman Empire, and it seems like they've been in this mythical world for quite some time, and are two figures that the Octoberists, like go to for consulting.
They needed their before Toyohisa got there, he was pretty much like the feather that tipped the scale. Like before the Octoberists are just like maintaining. They're not winning this war at all. They're just like maintaining.
Right. And when they arrive, what is it like? What does Barca say? They have a chance now.
They was just like, we have an opportunity, because so when Toyohisa and Oda and Yoichi get involved, like the Octoberists are pretty much about to lose their stronghold. Like it's like they're cooked and they gotta like get the hell out of Dodge. And Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, stagecoach, Gatling gun chase scene is fire. Like, and they get them the hell out of Dodge and link up with our protagonists, and they're like, all right, now that we have the people, like let's make it happen. But they and the thing that I love so much about this show is it's like they're severely undermanned, but because they have all these brilliant battle minds, like they're coming up with strategies to like overcome like the numbers. Like,
exactly,
because the Ends and the Oda have like a literal army, like a whole army. And then
the ends and the Black King, they look like they're going to be a problem because when they first, so actually episode 6 ends with the ends. Name of this episode. Like the ends are about to make their move on one of the fortresses for the Orta Empire. And you see that they have these magical powers, and so as we've been built up these first 6 episodes of Toyohisa, Yoichi, and Nobunaga
Oda
forming their own little army, and then getting recruited by the Octoberists, we see the Ends pop in, and you're just kind of like, how y'all gonna win? How y'all gonna win?
Yeah.
And I was about to say we'll find out in episodes 7 to 12, but I don't know.
The show ends quite abruptly, maybe.
Yeah, returning 20, and then it just has the XX. So like,
and the XX has yet to be determined.
It's still XX.
It's still up in the air. Hey, you know what? They kept the show on brand. They said in a show where death is ambiguous, the death of the show is ambiguous. It's up in the air. It may never come back. It may.
It may return. It may never return.
Who knows, bro?
Yeah. That's how we gonna end this episode.
1,000%. Oh,
we may end it. We may not.
We may end it. We may not. Big facts. But thank y'all. Look, we just happy to be back. Like we just happy to be back.
Yeah, we first came back with the backlog. Now we're doing our first one-hitter quitters.
We're very excited about all the things that are going on. We appreciate it. I'll take this moment of sincerity, because it's like we just kind of we drifted away from you guys for about like a month and a half.
This guy.
And, we drifted away for about like a month and a half, and it wasn't done haphazardly. Like we really felt that we wanted to like get down, grind it out, make this platform like the final version, the perfect cell form of what this podcast, because it's bigger than a podcast. Like that's why it's like we call it the Brothaship, because it's a movement. It's not just the podcast anymore. But for all the lifers, the lifers who are now fellow travelers, the new listeners who have like been with us, we'll do the outro and we'll shout y'all out again. But we really do appreciate the patience, because it's like y'all could have easily, like, our follower count on the socials could have just dropped. Like we weren't putting shit out, but y'all stayed around, and like we fuck with y'all. Hard body for that, y'all.
Hard body karate.
Yeah, we were, and for y'all patience, like y'all gonna get sick of us, because we are about to bless the algorithms. Like so much content. So much content. But before we close this bad boy out, brother Trav, we obviously gonna be back for the part 2, the finale. Question mark.
Next week will be the finale.
Question mark. Ambiguous finale of the journey.
Yeah, of our first edition of the One Hitter Quitters of part 2 of our Drifters recap. So stay tuned for that.
And like we said, to the lifers, new listeners, and fellow travelers, we have reached our final destination as we board the Nama station. But the journey never really ends, and we know that we can't change this world without you. So lend us your vibes by way of likes, listens, reviews, and subscribes. And the easiest way that you can do that, and how you can also support our sister Star Wars podcast featuring yours truly and super producer Mikey, Annie, Are You Okay? A Star Wars podcast, is by clicking the all-powerful link tree of Mike in the episode description below. And just like the North, always remember, whether you watch it or you read it, we all still need it. So open up your nerd eye, point it to the sky, and we will see you next time aboard the Brothaship. See you soon, Space Cow people. Build on.